Alright, hey guys, so I'm going to do a quick exponent video. I'm going to write over here on this whiteboard instead of on my screen, so hopefully you'll be able to see it. So again, just a quick review. If you have an exponent like x to the fifth, that means that you have 5 x's. So if I draw it out, I have 5, right? So my rules, if I have x to the fifth times x to the fourth times x, right? These are all being multiplied. I can draw it out. 5 x's, 4 x's, 1 x. How many x's do I have altogether? Well, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. X to the 10th would be my answer for that problem, right? If I have multiple letters, so if I have x to the 5th times y to the 3rd times x to the negative 2 times y to the 4th. All I'm doing is adding, right? 5 plus 4 plus 1 is 10. Well, 5 plus a negative 2 is going to be 3. 3 plus 4 is going to be 7. Or again, I can draw it out. Remember, a negative flips to the bottom to make it positive. So instead of putting this 2, x to the negative 2 on the top, we can flip it to the bottom and make it a positive 2. Now, when I have something on the top and the bottom, I again have my 5 x's on the top. I have 2 at the bottom. These are going to cancel each other out, which means I have 3 x's left. So I'm going to take and subtract these two and get x to the 3rd. And then these I'm still going to add to get to the 7th. Okay? When I have more complicated problems, because the complicated one seems to be a little more difficult on the assignment yesterday. So let's say that I had something like 3x squared y to the negative 3z to the 4th, and I raised that all to the 2nd power. Okay? First and foremost, I don't want any negatives. My very first thing, get rid of this negative. Again, I'm going to rewrite everything that's positive. Oopsie. Rewrite everything that's positive. My negative moves to the bottom. I saw a lot of people trying to write fractions like 3x squared 1/3 y, or y 1/3 y to the 3rd z to the 4th. You can write it like this, but whenever you have them on the top and the bottom, it gets really messy. So instead of doing that, just put it on the bottom of a fraction. Okay, so now this is simplified without no negatives, but we still haven't used this 2. We can do one of two things. Our rule tells us we're going to distribute that to everything inside. So we're going to have 3 squared, x squared, squared, z to the 4th, squared, y to the 3rd, squared. So I can do that. 3 squared is 9. X squared 2 times is going to be x to the 4th. Z to the 4th 2 times is going to be z to the 8th. And y to the 3rd 2 times is y to the 6th. And this would be my final answer. The other way I can do it is, instead of distributing this 2 means that I have 2 sets of parentheses. So I can rewrite this 2 times. Sorry, this should be a z. I can rewrite this 2 times and then just use my same rule that I used before and just multiply. 3 times 3 is 9. I have 2 x's here, 2 here, so I have 4 altogether. I have 4 here, so 8 altogether. 3 here, 3 here, so 6 altogether. Again, notice whether I use my rule or whether I draw it out, I still have the same answer. Okay? Keep in mind, anything to the 0th power is 1, not 0. Not the number that's there, not the letter that's there. So x to the 0th power is 1. 4 to the 0th power is 1. 3x squared y to the 0th power is 1. A huge set of parentheses with a bunch of numbers, a bunch of exponents, negatives, fractions to the negative, all raised to the 0th power equals 1. Everything. Okay? Let's see. The next ones, again, negatives. I cannot have any negatives in my answer. So if I have a problem that has like negative 3x and a y squared and z to the negative 5 and an x to the negative 5th, a y to the negative 3, and a z to the 2nd, right? I want to get rid of all my negatives. So the very first thing I do is if it's a negative, it moves. So this one is going to move down to the bottom and become a positive. This one is a positive, so it's going to stay exactly where it is. This one's a negative, so it's going to move down to the bottom and become a positive. Then we go to the bottom. If it's a negative, it moves to the top. So this x to the 5th moves to the top. This y to the 3rd moves to the top. This one is a positive, so it's going to stay exactly where it is. Now I'm going to use my rules. How many y's do I have? Well, they are above each other, which means subtract. 5 at the top, 3 at the bottom. Subtract, I get 2 left at the top. I have 2 y's and 3 y's, so I have 5 y's altogether at the top. And then here I have 7 z's altogether at the bottom. Okay? Last but not least, again, remember, if I have a negative outside the parentheses, so let's say I have a 2x to the 4th y squared over z, and I have a negative 2 out here. Well, this 2 tells me I'm going to have 2 sets of these parentheses, but this negative tells me that everything's going to flip. So I'm going to start by taking everything in this problem and flipping it. And that's going to get rid of that negative. Not the 2, just the negative. Now I can distribute that 2 to everything inside. So z gets a 2, 2 gets a 2, x to the 4th gets a 2, and y squared gets a 2. Now I want to simplify that. So I can't do anything with z squared, so it stays z squared. 2 squared is 4. X to the 4th squared, that means I have 2 of those, so I'm going to have 8 x's. And then I have 2 of these, so I'm going to have 4 y's. This would be my final answer there. And then, of course, because you guys had to watch this video and make sure that I know that you watched this video, you have to answer a special question, which is, what is my favorite sports team? And that is the Florida Gators. You can spell it just like this and get full credit. Good luck on your test tomorrow. If you have any questions, let me know. We can meet today.